I don't know why, but this last break week felt so much longer than recent past ones. Maybe it's because Girlfriend 32 is right around the corner, so we're excited for that, or the fact we're coming off a 3-chapter long story arc while also waiting for that to finish over the holidays, which included breaks. Either way, our patience is being paid off because after this chapter, we get Girlfriend 32. Ow! Wait, what's this? The series is going on break again once more? Okay, that's fine. It's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. We can get through another break week. How? Well, I'm glad you asked. As I mentioned in a previous video, next month in February is my 1-year anniversary with covering this series. Yippee! So I wanted to do something a little fun. Now, I'll still be covering the chapters as usual, but during the month of February, I wanted to do more on the channel. Like I said last time, some things that are 100 Girlfriends related and some that are not. Let's go over my plans before we hit the chapter. For the 100 Girlfriends related content, my biggest priority is going to be covering the light novel, as that got its official English release a few months ago, to go over it and discuss and debate if the stories in that series can be still considered canon or not, and my general overall review of the book. Though with it being a book, I'm a little stumped on how to make a video out of it. So as soon as Earl and I can figure out how to make a video covering a book interesting, we'll get right on that. I think we'll do separate videos, one for each chapter of the story. Just don't expect this during February though, because I have other plans, but I do want to do it sometime this year. I also do have some theory video ideas, but one of them takes a lot of research that I need to stop being lazy about and do already, and the others are small and not super interesting, so I'm keeping them in reserve for when I'm desperate for content and still want to do a theory video. I kind of blew my load on my past 3 theory videos as those were my biggest ideas. Maybe after a bit more time I'll revisit and update the time passage theory again. As for the immediate now, it's February, the month of love, and I am single. At least I won't be for long, as I invite you to join me on a journey where I go back to my gaming roots on the channel to find a girlfriend, as I play a myriad of 4 different dating sims across the month of February. And if the views and response are good, maybe a secret 5th game. There will be an overarching narrative of me throughout the videos, something to tie them all together so they aren't just your average Let's Play videos. But it will be 1 game a week throughout the month. So this means throughout the month of February, you'll be getting the Slice of Gaming podcast on Saturdays, the 100 Girlfriends anime reactions on Sundays, and during the week, uploads of these game playthroughs and the chapter reviews when they're ready. So you'll be getting an upload almost every day from this channel next month. This won't be the norm though, this is just me experimenting with other stuff to diversify the uploads and change things up for a bit, but if it's received well, I'll see what I can do. If you're into this kind of stuff, I hope you're looking forward to it, because I'm looking forward to playing these games. And if you're not into it, I apologize for bombarding your subscription box every day for the next month. Alright. Oh, that was a lot. Why was I here again? Oh yeah, daily life. I'm Moonlight150, and this is my overview of the latest 100 Girlfriends chapter, Chapter 203, Daily Life Part 7. Be sure to support the series in your local region with purchases of the manga or watching the anime where they are available, and show your love to the Scanlation team that brings us these new chapters. Now, let's see what the girls are up to this week. In Sneaky Silent Cats, Tama seems to have upped her cat game as she appears to move around more silently and sneak up on people much like cats do. And Uto isn't a fan, as we have learned from past chapters that Uto is easily the startle type. So she's not a fan of how Tama does this, though the other girlfriends praise Tama's quietness, with even Kasuri saying she'd make a good assassin. But Tama isn't interested in being an assassin because, well, that's a job. And really, that's her only reason, not the whole actually killing people part. And Uto, being the cool cucumber that she is, tries to play it off that she isn't a massive scaredy cat, only for later on for the same situation again to happen with Uto, thinking she senses Tama and thinking it's only the wind, only for Tama to actually appear and scare Uto. The 2 newest girlfriends, before the next chapter, are in the spotlight in Senpai's size. Saki takes Nemu out for a snack at what I assume is her usual haunt, where she wants to ask Nemu something that she doesn't want anyone else to hear, and asks Nemu something that I have been saying for every chapter Nemu has been in since her debut, that she is big for a middle schooler. Now granted, Saki is just a small person in general, but even then Nemu is just big. Nemu blames it on all the sleeping she does, which is kind of the opposite of the truth, isn't it? She's so tired all the time because she loses so much sleep working in her grandparents' store, so she makes up for it napping all the time. She's not getting any extra, she's making up for the sleep she loses. But it really doesn't matter, as this conversation isn't stimulating Nemu's bloodlust, and she begins to fall asleep. Which, being the caring senpai that she is, Saki takes it on herself to carry Nemu back to school even though she's like twice her size and weight. What a good senpai she is. But Nemu makes it up to her by regaling how it is important what her actual height is, but her great big senpai-y heart. Aww. Aira shows off her capoeira moves and capoeira artist Akko. After seeing what Aira is able to do, Akko becomes inspired to do the same, saying Aira is someone out of a battle manga, which given the kicks we have seen, she's not wrong. But as Akko tries to imitate those stylish kicks, she ends up just flailing and falling on her face multiple times in the process, until Aira decides to just teach her properly, starting with some basic kicks. Kasuri is looking for someone to play with in number make-believe. Instead of playing tag like normal, Kasuri offers to play number make-believe to get Sue interested. So Kasuri takes on the form of a 9, and Sue is 5. As Kasuri goes on attack formation, Sue is apparently playing house, and offers to do some 95 or even the lewd 59. Kasuri is just as puzzled as I am regarding this whole situation, especially when she starts saying things like 74 style, 95, or 320 style. I'm just going to admit my age right now that I have no idea what these kids are talking about. Is this how Yaku feels on a daily basis with everyone else? Oh well, as long as they get along, as we see here at the end that Sue is now more open to playing with her, and in the end, that's what matters. God, I really am sounding like a grandparent.
And me, I'm 32 years old. Damn! I'm sorry.
Matsuri is feeling the FOMO in when there's a festival nearby and you can even hear the music, but you can't go until later. And that's literally what's going on. A festival seems to be so close to the school that you can even hear the music when they are on the roof. And Matsuri is throwing a conniption that she can't go. But as Kurumi is telling her to stop her whining, it turns out that she is just as upset about not being able to go as she wants to eat all the festival food that they offer. So they both have their little tantrums while Hahari watches in bliss, until they eventually tucker themselves out and reflect on their actions, as they come to an understanding of one another and then plan to go to the festival after school. Wait, I actually want to see that chapter. Nakamura, you had this idea for Kurumi and Matsuri, and you didn't go to the festival? Okay, you better do it at some point. Nausicaa of the Valley in the floor has Yamame coming across some fellow students. Wait a minute. Characters that aren't a part of the family showing up in this manga? This is a rarity! But these unnamed characters are perplexed by something that seems to be in the floor. Possibly some suit sprites? Nah, it's a swarm of what seems to be pill bugs. Sure, let's go with pill bugs. But once the realization hits, the unnamed not-girlfriend students are creeped out by the creepy crawlies, which Yamame is unfazed by and she proceeds to take them back to the forest. How do you even coerce a bunch of bugs like that? Yamame really can talk to any kind of animal. And along the way to the forest, she runs into Usa-chan, who asks to help with the bugs, as it turns out she's a big fan of these kinds of bugs because they gather in large, tight swarms. Fitting. Mai has had an inkling about Meme-san's nature for a while now, so now she wants to be the one to open that door for her, where Meme has noticed the book that Mai is currently reading and inquires about it. Turns out it's the same book Shizuka and Mai bonded over back in Daily Life Part 3, Chapter 157. Now we even have a title. It's Drips of a Winter Night, a love story regarding two women who are boss and subordinate. Apparently it's pretty mature. And Mai, being the bisexual girl failure that she is, tries to coax Meme into what she thinks of that kind of setup with a same-sex relationship of two women, only for Meme to pull the ultimate Uno reverse card, and instead of admitting to Yuri thoughts, she admits to having some Fujoshi thoughts between two Renteros, which turns out to be too much for Mai to process, that kind of fantasy, and takes off with the ever-popular nosebleed launch. Yeah, that door is wide open for her now. It's a battle between Muscle Pain Women and Groper Girl, where we have Momiji homing in on Eku like she's the flying enemy from Sekiro. But as Momiji comes closing in, Eku finds Natty's American Freedom Lasso and uses it to tie Momiji up. But in a moment of weakness, she sees the fun of being tied up herself and asks Momiji to tie her up, only to lose the whole battle as Momiji gropes her as she's tied up anyway. It's Meru's story time yet again, this one pertaining to the story of a rabbit girl with short ears. Kishika catches wind of the story time, admiring Meru for entertaining the little ones of the family, which I just want to point out the little ones she's referring to consists of Nano, Usa-chan, and Mei, and I guess Kusuri, who's both simultaneously 18 and 8. Okay, I don't know how to categorize that one, but you get my point. Though I will say these aren't random. Both Mei and Nano learned the joy of fairy tales during Meru's introduction, and Usa-chan did during a previous daily life. So these three showing up for another storytelling from Meru makes sense. Nice continuity aspect there, Nakamura. But Kishika is drawn in by the storytelling herself and reverts to baby mode. As Meru sees the innocence in her eyes, she can't help but be in awe in how she can maintain the light in her eyes after all this time. To which she takes it upon herself to protect it herself, and says she wishes to share just one more story with her, and her alone. Lastly, in Kiki breaking new ground. Remember Kiki? She's a character in this series in case you forgot, because she's had almost no screen time lately. But she's out and about looking for new ways to be abnormal, because, in case you forgot, she longs to be the most abnormal thing out there. But she bumps into Yaku, who is looking to purchase her new CD. That's honestly very sweet, having Yaku go out of her way to support a Rentaro family member by purchasing the new CD, even though she isn't into that type of music. But as she admits, the way Himika sings has even Yaku feeling a connection, and says that Yaku is more into enka style music. Quick music lesson. Enka is usually categorized as music that usually comprises of emotional ballads and messages of longing for a simpler time. Enka originated during the 19th century, but went through changes to what is now called modern enka in the late 1940s post-World War II. And that's where it got really popular, which makes sense that Yaku would be more into that style of music, as that is the era that she grew up in. Back to the chapter, talking to Yaku about enka music gives Himika an idea of that to make her next song more in the style of enka, which seems to actually work as she gathers headlines for being an actual abnormal talent for going for such an old-style traditional route with her music, which fills Himika with immense joy as she has achieved what she has always wanted, to be seen as an abnormal talent. And apparently it was so good that it even drove Yaku to tears. Again, Nakamura, this sounds like such a good idea for a full chapter, and a Himika-focused chapter at that, and you give us this abridged version in a daily life? Ugh. And that's another daily life in the books. And now, the long and dreadful wait for another break week to go by as we await Girlfriend 32 in Chapter 204. The first girlfriend of 2025. And also next week starts my hunt for my very own girlfriend right here on the channel. So be sure to like and subscribe to see all the chaos of this series with a new girlfriend, and whatever misadventures I get into in my hunt. And I will see you all for the jam-packed month I have planned for February. See you all then.